Fashion in Souls games is often a very conflicting topic. Half of us trying to cover up our ugliness in pretty clothes and pretend like there's nothing wrong, but some of us aren't so lucky. And no matter how well we try to hide our true nature, it doesn't change the fact that anyone that looks at us has their eyeballs fall out.
My eyes, they're melting.
But here on this channel, you don't have to feel ashamed about how ugly you are. No. In fact, I encourage you to embrace it.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Good! Say it louder.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Louder.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Louder.
I'm ugly and I'm proud. I am ugly and I'm proud. I'm ugly and I'm proud.
And the fact is, the more optimized your build becomes, the uglier you tend to get. But if you thought that going full verdigris or solitude armor was the end-all be-all answer to your mathematically optimized fashion, then you aren't even half as ugly as you should be. Hi, my name's Rust. I'm a Soulsborne content creator with an emphasis on PvP. Build making is a very fun aspect of Souls games, but optimizing your stats, talismans, and armor can take a lot of time, effort, and experience that can take thousands of hours to really understand. And in this video, I'm going to take the guesswork out of the equation, give you the tools, knowledge, and resources for you to build mathematically optimized armor sets. And a fair warning, the sights that you'll see in this video will be horrifying. You will be pointed at in a downward direction.
Disgusting.
You will be scorned, and if the drip inspector ever finds you, fucking run. Run for your fucking life. But with that, be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you found this information helpful to you at all, or if you're just more confused than ever. To start things off, let's talk about optimizing your poise. Elden Ring's poise system works similar to how it did back in Dark Souls 1. Whenever you're hit by an attack, it'll deal a certain amount of poise damage to you. If you have more poise than the amount of poise damage that it deals to you, then you're considered poise chipped, and the amount of poise damage that's dealt to you is reduced from your total overall. If you're then hit by a follow-up attack that then drops your poise health below 0, then you'll be considered poise broken, and your poise health will reset to the full amount. Whenever you're building an armor loadout, one of the most important decisions that you're going to make is how much poise that you want to build for. This is a pretty detailed list of all the various poise breakpoints that you want to be aware of. To clarify, each of these breakpoints represents one poise higher than the amount of poise damage that opposing weapons deal. So for the 88 poise breakpoint, if you have 88 poise, then you can tank the two-handed backswing of small weapons which only deal 87 poise damage. But I'm not suggesting that you build a separate armor loadout for each individual breakpoint. Instead, I just recommend on focusing on one of these three breakpoints. 88 poise, which allows you to reach some of the most important poise breakpoints, including the second swing of all one- and two-handed fast weapons. 111, which covers the first R1 of one-handed small weapons, the second hit of the two-handed light greatsword, the first hit of twin blades, offhand thrusting swords, and the first two hits of an offhand dagger. If you reach 117 poise with Bulgod's Talisman, then you can take the second swing of one-handed great weapons, as well as everything else already mentioned. This also allows you to reach 88 poise without Bulgod's Talisman, letting you be more flexible with how you run your build. When building your armor set, the biggest deciding factor that will influence how you build the rest of your armor will be dependent on your headpiece. Head slot armors provide various stat buffs, bonuses, and sometimes even various drawbacks, which can make or break a build. But ultimately, there's really only three options that are ever worth considering: Circlet of Light, Divine Bird Helm, and Implant Head. Each of these is so absurdly overtuned that it basically invalidates trying to justify anything else in their place. The Circlet of Light has the absolute best poise to weight ratio, with 5 poise to 1 unit of weight. It also comes with 3 stat buffs, 1 in Int, Faith, and Arcane, and it has 3 times as many defenses as anything else within its weight class. The Divine Bird Helm has not only one of the best poise to weight ratios, alongside other helms like the Knight's Helm and Crucible helms, but it also has 7 additional stats given to it, being 3 bonus in strength and 4 in dexterity. When compared to optimized builds that make use of Implant Head, the overall set using Divine Bird Helm will have slightly heavier equip loads and require an additional point of investment in endurance to make the same breakpoint. But with 5 extra levels given to it compared to the Implant Head, you're still coming out with 4 extra bonus stats that you wouldn't have if you used the Implant Head. Then finally, the Implant Head. This one in particular is quite heavy, but among the head slots, this one still manages to have the best poise to weight ratio on anything over 9 poise, has very high defenses, and has an additional 2 points of vigor, meaning 2 more points that you can freely invest elsewhere in your build. In pure strength builds that have 0 investment in dexterity, nothing beats the Implant Head. Building with this at the center of your armor set lets you reach the best overall poise weight ratios at higher poise values, and the best overall defenses, with no drawbacks unlike the Divine Bird Helm, which reduces focus resist. So if you're looking for something that's consistently good in all scenarios with no drawbacks, then go with the Imp Line set 100% of the time. But from here we're going to start actually building out these sets. Kicking things off, we're just going to be focusing on building for the most optimized poise to weight ratio for each breakpoint. These sets are only something that I'd recommend running if you're literally starving for extra levels of investment to put into other places, and your only focus is on creating a build that meets a specific breakpoint with the absolute lowest equip load possible. Okay, real quick, this is about to get really boring and really number crunchy. If you ain't into that and just want the easy answer without all the then just skip ahead to like 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Starting off with the 88 Poise breakpoint, these sets are best for low-level builds up to rune level 125 that are just trying to reach the first breakpoint so that they can have as many levels as possible to invest into their damage. With the Circuit of Light, you can run Tree Sentinel Armor, Battle Mage Manchettes, and their Crucible Greaves for a total of 30.6 equip load. With the Divine Bird Helm, you would run Tree Sentinel Armor, no gloves, and Young Radon's Legs for a total of 32.8 equip load. And with the Imp Line Head, you would run Crucible Axe Armor, the Golden Bracelets, and Young Radon's Legs for a total of 33.7 equip load. It's worth noting that even with base 10 Endurance, you would still be able to medium load with any of these setups, not including weapons and talismans. When you jump up to 111 Poise, you can meet a good variety of various breakpoints that makes this setup feel very comfortable. This breakpoint is best for invaders who need to meet any number of challenges that get thrown their way. When optimizing for Circlet of Light, you can reach 111 Poise with Solitude Armor, Blide's Gauntlets, and Solitude Legs for 44.4 equip load. With Divine Bird Helm, you would run Solitude Chest, Godskin Noble Bracelets, and Solitude Greaves for 45.1 equip load. And with Imp Line Head, you would run Tree Sentinel Armor, Zamor Bracelets, and Solitude Legs for 44.6 equip load, and the best overall defenses out of the three options, only being 0.2 equip load heavier than the Circlet of Light options. At 117 Poise, your build is given a lot of versatility. At this breakpoint, if you remove Bullgoat's Talisman, then you'll be sat at 88 Poise, so you can either choose to equip it or not depending on the matchup, and if you don't require the high Poise value, then you can just swap it out for more valuable talismans in its place. On an optimized build with Circlet of Light, you'd run it with Verdigrease's Chest, Lionel's Gauntlets, and Solitude Greaves for 48.8 equip load. With the Divine Bird Helm, you would run Solitude Armor, Young Radon's Gauntlets, and Verdigris Greaves for 49.6 equip load, and for the Imp Line set, you would run Solitude Chest, Godskin Noble Bracelets, and Solitude Greaves for 48.6, being now less than the Circlet of Light option. Out of all of these options, you could still be in medium equip load with only 25 points of investment into endurance, not including weapons and talismans. Now while these sets are optimal for their poise to weight ratios, they're really lacking in defenses.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
And for just the cost of 1 or 2 extra points of investment, you can reach significantly higher defenses at the same breakpoint. Out of all of your defenses, the two most important ones are your slash resistance and your pierce resistance, as most things commonly run in the meta deal either of these types of damage. And if your set is sitting at less than 30% for either of these defenses, then you may want to consider carving out an extra point to get into some heavier armor. It can be really easy to get dead set on trying to meet a specific damage cap, like 66 or 80 strength, but you'll get way more value out of 1 or 2% of extra defenses than you could ever get out of the 3 or 4 AR given by a single point into a damage stat. So instead, these armors are fully optimized for the maximum amount of pierce and slash resist at their given poise breakpoints. Among the 88 poise options, starting with Circlet of Light, equip Altered Beast Champion armor with Young Radon Gauntlets and Crucible Greaves. This only increases your equip load by 1.16 units, and you go from 28% slash and pierce resist up to 31. For the Bird Helm, you have a few options. You can swap out to the Altered Beast Champion armor, Zamor Bracelets, and Crucible Greaves for an extra 0.6 equip load and raising your slash resist up to 31.6 and your pierce resist to 30.9. Or you can go with the Altered Beast Champion armor, Tree Sentinel Gauntlets, and Clean Rock Greaves, bringing your equip load up to 36.6, being very high for this breakpoint, but with 32.6% of defenses in both slash and pierce. And with the Imp Line Head, you have a few options again. The optimized set that we already went over with Crucible Axe Armor, Gold Bracelets, and Young Radon Greaves is already pretty good with a low weight requirement of 33.7 and good defenses at 30% in each. Otherwise, you can go the slightly heavier option with the Altered Beast Champion Chest, Godskin Noble Bracelets, and Clearrock Greaves, which brings you to 35.5 equip load and raises your defenses to 32.2% slash resist and 32.5% pierce resist. For the 111 poise breakpoints, starting with Circlet of Light, you can swap out to the Verdigris chest with Young Radahn Gauntlets and Lionel's Greaves for an extra 0.6 equip load and bring your defenses from 30% to 33% in both slash and pierce resist. With the Bird Helm option, you can swap out to Tree Sentinel Armor with Tree Sentinel Gauntlets and Verdigris Greaves for an extra 0.7 in equip load and an astonishing 34.3% slash resist and 32.6 pierce resist. And okay, listen, there may be a set that uses Omen Armor. I'm happy to just bury this and pretend it doesn't exist. But then, with the Impline Head, if you stick with the Tree Sentinel chest, you can swap out to Young Lion Gauntlets and Lionel's Greaves for an extra 0.5 in equip load, but you're getting up to 35.6% slash resist and 34.8% pierce resist. Or you can go with the slightly heavier and more rotund option of Lionel's Chest, Blide's Gauntlets, and Lionel's Greaves for 35.6% slash resist and 36.3% pierce resist at 47.0 equip load. And finally, for the 117 poise options, these, again, tend to be a lot harder to invest for than the previous options, requiring fairly high levels of endurance if you still want access to a good variety of options for weapons and optimized talismans. The major benefit here is that you have a very flexible Bulk Goat talisman, meaning that you only ever have to equip it if you come up against a matchup that requires over 88 poise for you to be able to deal with it. At this point, optimizing for defenses with Circlet of Light really isn't all that viable, as you have less defenses at a higher equip load than you could ever achieve with the Impline Head. But if you were going to try, then you would run it with Verdigris Chest, Tree Sentinel Gauntlets, and Verdigris Greaves for 49.2 equip load and 33.9% slash resist and 32.6% pierce resist. And with Bird Helm, we would run Verdigris Chest with Lionel's Gauntlets and Legs for an extra 1.1 equip load and raising your defenses to 35.1% slash resist and 34.4% pierce resist. And lastly, with the Impline Head, there's a very well optimized set that offers a great balance between poise weight ratio and very high defenses, with Tree Sentinel Chest, with Tree Sentinel Gauntlets and Verdigris Greaves, giving 0.3 extra equip load and bringing your defenses up to 36 slash and 34.5 pierce. But if you want to go full Chungus, then you can opt for even higher defenses with a combination of Lionel's Chest, Young Radahn's Gauntlets, and Verdigris Legs at 50.3 equip load and getting an astonishing 36% defenses in both slash and pierce, being the highest amount that you can achieve at the 117 poise breakpoint. It's really hard to give you a definitive, this is the best set for you to wear at this breakpoint, because it really depends on how you're running your build, from what weapons you're using to what talismans you're running. But what I can say is that there's 3 builds out of the bunch that stand out as most notable. At the 88 poise breakpoint, the Circlet of Light build, prioritizing its defenses, has the highest defense to weight ratio with 0.97% defenses per equip load. This build is perfect for casters that need just enough poise to avoid getting blendered by fast weapons and allows them to mash Catch Flame out of hitstun like a truly filthy wizard. The Divine Bird Helm sees some diminishing returns on investment at the 117 breakpoint and gets its best overall ratio of poise to weight to defense at the 111 poise breakpoint, in the armor set with the Tree Sentinel armor, the Tree Sentinel gloves, and the Verdigris Greaves. This is a phenomenal setup for invader builds that need the extra stats in strength and dexterity to equip a number of useful swaps such as Great Bows, which have fairly high stat requirements in both strength and dexterity. And at the 117 poise breakpoint, the Impline set with Lionel's armor, Young Lion's Gauntlets, and Verdigris Greaves is hands down the best setup for a pure strength build or duelist. This build can make use of lighter weapons such as Shamshir or Thrusting Sword and still come out comfortably over 60 strength, while having the best overall defenses out of all of the options. The flexibility of this being able to swap out the Bulgos talisman just makes it even more potent, allowing it to make use of a tally loadout such as the 3 multi-hit tallies along with the 2-handed sword talisman. I've went ahead and made a full spreadsheet of each of the various armor sets provided throughout this video, where you can quickly look up the various options and test them for yourself to see which one works best for your build. The link for this is provided in the description. The best tool that I could possibly offer you is Emilia's Build Planner. The link for this is in the description. With this, you can fully plan out a build with everything from your starter class to your weapons, talismans, and even being able to calculate your most optimal poise that you can achieve with how much endurance that you have available. But the options that I provide in this video are about as optimal as you're ever going to get. This is really just an extra tool that you can use to help you with your unique and specific build. If you do decide to take advantage of Emilia's site, then definitely consider going over and donating to her coffee for all the work that she does for the Elden Ring PvP community. But that's going to do it for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.